A terrifying storm strikes the city, but this is no ordinary storm. Along with it, massive, ferocious sharks begin raining down from the sky, devouring everything in their path. Now, a group of people must come together to save the city from this strange and deadly threat. So, let's see whether they succeed or not. At the beginning of the story, we see a couple named April and Finn who are traveling to New York to meet their family. During the flight, they encounter a violent storm. Finn looks out the window and notices a flash of lightning forming a shadow in the clouds that looks like a shark. He assumes he might be mistaken, so he decides to look again, and this time he clearly sees a shark. He thinks that if he tells anyone, they'll consider him crazy, so he ignores it and closes the window shade. However, shortly after, the plane starts shaking violently. Finn tries to look outside again to understand what's happening, and this time he clearly sees a shark colliding with the wing of the aircraft. Panicking, he tries to warn the other passengers, but flying sharks sound unbelievable and no one else has seen them. So a flight attendant and an FBI agent on board ask everyone to remain calm, saying it's just turbulence, even though thousands of sharks are actually flying outside in the sky. As the plane approaches the airport, one of the sharks crashes into the turbine, causing it to catch fire. The impact reduces the plane's altitude. The engine comes loose, hits the side of the aircraft, and creates a large hole, allowing air to rush in. Passengers begin screaming in fear, while the flight attendant urges everyone to stay seated and remain calm until landing. Suddenly, a shark flies in and bites off her head in a single strike. Moments later, more sharks slam into the front windshield until one breaks through and grabs the co-pilot's head. The commander tries to pull his colleague back, but both are dragged out of the plane by the shark. With no pilot left in the cockpit and the situation spiraling out of control, Finn rushes forward to attempt an emergency landing. April and the agent follow him. But just as April is about to reach her husband, an emergency door opens, threatening to suck her out. She grabs onto something to hold herself in place. At that moment, the agent sees a shark flying toward her and throws his gun so she can defend herself. April fires a few shots but fails to kill the shark, and it ends up swallowing her hand along with the gun. Meanwhile, Finn manages to activate the landing gear and with great difficulty successfully performs an emergency landing. After this chaos, Finn is interviewed on national television where he talks about the shark storm. However, people mock his story and don't believe him. Later, at the hospital, April undergoes surgery to treat her injuries while Finn waits outside. After the operation, he goes to see her. But then a weather forecast announces another massive storm approaching, one that will bring thousands of sharks with it. Finn immediately calls his sister Ellen to warn her about the danger. However, Ellen is visiting the Statue of Liberty with her daughter and has her phone on silent so she doesn't see the call. While they are taking pictures, they run into some of Ellen's friends who tell her about the incident. Worried, she checks her phone and calls her brother. Finn urgently tells her to leave the Statue of Liberty and head to Manhattan, as it will be safer there. Ellen then reveals that her husband Martin and their youngest son Vaughn are at a stadium near the river watching a baseball game, which will soon be affected by the storm. She asks Finn to go there and help them. As soon as the call ends, Ellen looks toward the water and sees hundreds of sharks swimming, something completely unusual for that area. After waiting a few minutes, a boat arrives and their group finally leaves Liberty Island. But midway through the journey, several sharks begin chasing the boat. Suddenly, one of the sharks leaps out of the water and attacks one of Ellen's friends, tearing into her face. Someone tries to stop the shark using a stun gun, but it's too late. The woman's face is badly mutilated and she dies. Meanwhile, Finn takes a taxi to head toward the stadium and tries to contact his brother-in-law on the way. However, Martin had turned off his phone as soon as he reached the stadium. Meanwhile, Finn runs into Sky, an old school friend, who takes him to the rest of the group. There, Finn meets Martin and tries to convince everyone to leave before it's too late, but they refuse and decide to stay until the game ends. Suddenly, a massive jet of water rises from the nearby river. As soon as it touches the ground, it turns into a tornado, bringing thousands of sharks along with it. The sharks begin falling into the crowd, causing complete chaos. People start running in panic. On their way out, the group passes through a shop and grabs whatever they can to defend themselves as they exit the stadium. The crowd rushes toward the station and boards a train, hoping that the metro tunnels won't be flooded. However, a few kilometers ahead, a railway maintenance team confirms that the underground route is already submerged. They decide to go and shut down the tracks to prevent more water from entering. As they pass through a tunnel toward the control area, a giant crocodile suddenly emerges from the water and bites off one worker's head. Seeing his friend die like that, the other worker tries to escape, but due to pressure, a valve bursts and a strong flow of water rushes in. Along with it, several sharks enter and devour both the crocodile and the man. Meanwhile, something crashes into the metro train. When Finn tries to see what happened, he notices a huge amount of water rushing in along with several sharks. At the next station, passengers have been waiting for minutes, thinking they'll finally be able to board the train, but the train speeds past them, and right behind it, sharks arrive at the station, attacking and eating people. Realizing that sharks could enter the train at any moment, Finn tells everyone to move toward the front compartments. Amid the chaos, a police officer helping people escape gets grabbed by a shark from the leg. One of Martin's friends attacks the shark with a baseball bat and saves the officer, but soon gets caught himself and is dragged into the water. As everyone continues to flee, Finn goes back to save a woman who has been caught by a shark, but he fails to help her and nearly gets caught himself. To protect himself, he uses a bed as a shield, but the shark snaps it in half in a single bite. Finn then picks up a broken wooden piece from the bed and stabs it into the shark's head, killing it instantly. Martin realizes they need to get off the train, so he asks Vaughn to pull the emergency stop. Once the train halts and they reach the street, the entire group gets into a taxi and begins planning what kind of weapons they can create to fight the flying sharks. They decide to head to Times Square. After reaching there, they split up to gather necessary supplies. Finn goes into a pizza shop and asks the owner for propane gas to make a bomb. Meanwhile, Martin and Vaughn go to a market where they buy materials for explosives and a powerful toy gun. They also spot a beautiful sword that looks exactly like one from The Witcher, and then return to the taxi.
On the other hand, after getting off the boat, Ellen and her group run toward the building where she was supposed to meet her brother, Finn. On the way, a man offers to help them, saying he can keep them safe in his office nearby. But as they walk, he drops his suitcase and stops to pick it up. At that moment, the storm passes near the Statue of Liberty, and its massive stone head breaks off and comes flying straight at him, crushing him to death instantly. Further ahead, two city workers on the road notice the women running and decide to help them. But just as the driver gets into the truck, a shark slams into his head. Ellen realizes that if they don't act quickly, the broken piece of the Statue of Liberty will crush them. She immediately takes control of the truck and tries to escape. However, the truck isn't fast enough and the falling debris gets dangerously close. The second worker sitting at the back collides with part of the statue's crown, badly injuring his back. With such low speed, their chances of survival are slim. So Ellen steers the truck onto the sidewalk and crashes it into a pole. But at least they somehow manage to escape alive. After running a few kilometers, the three of them find some bicycles and start pedaling quickly toward the hospital building. Meanwhile, the powerful winds from the tornado begin hurling objects at the windows. Fearing that the glass might shatter and harm the patients, the hospital staff starts moving everyone down to the basement. April takes advantage of the situation and drives off in a fire truck parked at the hospital so she can reach her husband, who isn't far away. Meanwhile, rivers across the city begin to overflow and massive amounts of water flood the streets. As if the flooding wasn't enough, sharks start appearing in the water too. Finn and his group are in a taxi, but the current becomes so strong that their vehicle gets stuck. They realize that if they don't move quickly, they could either drown or be killed by sharks.
Finn asks the taxi driver for a piece of rope and throws it onto a nearby pole like a swing. Using it, they climb to a higher area where the water hasn't reached yet. But when the taxi driver tries to cross, his foot touches the water and a shark grabs and devours him. pulling the rope away as well. With no other option left, Finn literally jumps across the sharks as if he's playing hopscotch and manages to reach the other side. The group then runs toward a building, but upon reaching it, they realize Ellen hasn't arrived yet, so they split up. Finn and Sky head to the top floor to plant bombs, while Martin and Vaughn wait downstairs for Ellen and her daughter. Meanwhile, Ellen and the others are just about to reach the building when a tornado nearby hurls a massive whale shark that crashes onto Ellen's friend, crushing her badly. Terrified, Ellen and her daughter rush inside and finally reunite with Martin and Vaughn upstairs. Finn begins preparing bombs, while Sky creates a makeshift slingshot using rubber bands bought from Times Square. Once everything is ready, they launch bombs into the merging tornadoes, but it barely has any effect. As they try to make more bombs, the real shark rain begins. To defend themselves, Sky picks up a sword and starts slicing through the flying sharks like a sushi chef. Suddenly, a shark crashes into the roof, creating a huge hole and breaking a water tank, flooding the lower floors. On the ground floor, Martin and Ellen and their child nearly get trapped in the rising water, but they manage to escape in time and reach the emergency stairs. Upstairs, Finn and Sky prepared 2 more bombs and throw them into the tornado, but still nothing happens. As a last attempt, they create a massive bomb and send it into the storm. It only manages to kill a few sharks, but those burning sharks set the building on fire. Soon, flaming sharks begin raining down. Realizing the fire could consume them, Finn and Sky start heading downstairs. On the stairway, they find the others trapped, fire above and sharks below. They try to open a door on the 4th floor that leads outside, but it's locked. Martin distracts the sharks while Finn grabs a fire axe. As a shark leaps toward Martin, Finn strikes it in the head, killing it.
With little time left, Finn breaks the door open with the axe and leads everyone out through the fire escape. As they exit the building, April arrives in the fire truck and takes them all to the Empire State Building, where 2 storms have already merged into a massive tornado moving rapidly. A weather report on TV warns that a 3rd storm is approaching, and if all 3 combine, it will become the largest cyclone in Earth's history. At the Empire State Building, Finn meets the mayor and explains that fire didn't work, so now he plans to use Freon gas tanks inside the building. Freon is the gas used in refrigerators and freezers for cooling. After saying goodbye to his family, the mayor hands Finn a chainsaw. Fully prepared, Finn climbs onto the fire truck and begins his mission. Suddenly, a giant great white shark drops from the tornado and attacks him. Finn quickly turns on the chainsaw and slices it in half like a salmon. As he heads upward, Sky joins him. Together, they reach the rooftop, determined to save the city. Sky climbs up to connect cables to the tanks, while Finn works on wiring a lightning rod to trigger an explosion. Just then, another massive great white shark approaches Finn. He tries to start the chainsaw again, but it fails. Thinking this is the end, he prepares himself. Suddenly, April arrives, now with a saw attached in place of her hand, and slices the shark open, killing it, just like Captain Hook. With everything almost ready, Finn asks Sky to come down, but when he pulls the wire, the cable loosens. He calls Sky back for help. She reconnects it, and Finn uses the chainsaw like an extension cord to connect the lightning rod. As lightning strikes, a massive icy explosion occurs, freezing the tornado completely. The storm collapses and disappears.
Sharks begin falling from the sky. Finn manages to restart the chainsaw, but suddenly one shark swallows him whole. As it falls, he cuts his way out from inside the shark's body and emerges alive. He finds a hook and uses it like reins to control another shark, riding it like a mechanical bull. Moments later, the shark crashes into the Empire State Building, stopping his fall, and Finn lands safely on the rooftop. There, he finds April standing among several dead sharks. Suddenly, more sharks begin falling toward them. With no way to escape, Finn reaches into the mouth of a dead shark nearby and finds April's severed hand inside, the one that had been swallowed earlier, along with a police officer's pistol. He uses the gun to kill the remaining sharks. Once the last one falls, Finn takes a ring from his pocket, kneels down despite everything he's been through, and proposes to April once again. And with that, the deadly Sharknado disaster finally comes to an end. But now, a question for you. If you ever faced such terrifying flying sharks, what would you do? Do you think you could survive? Or would you become their next meal? If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like and subscribe for more movie explanations. See you next time.